Well, good morning, peoples. Handsome Jack here. Had a little something I want to talk about this morning that seems to be a lot of people are prepping. And I got thinking about it. We always did. I mean, we always had, I don't know, we always had food on the shelves. And we had a big pantry that would have probably lasted us better than probably 2 or 3 months. We had that many canned goods on hand. When we moved in the RV, we gave some of the stuff away. But all that food and all the time it took to collect it and everything doesn't do much good, I guess, if you're not mobile. I hear people saying, well, and I'm not a doomsday person. The grid could go down very well. I've worked on that sort of thing. I worked in all the power plants and all that stuff, all up and down the Hudson and here in New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and like that. I worked on all the power plants. And I know that a lot of them are outdated. And it wouldn't take much to take them down. They could probably even go down on their own. But after, and I think more than likely it'll be something like that happens. Is the grid or something will go down. That's going to make it's going to make things difficult, really difficult. And people are going to be looking for things. But without really realizing it, I guess. Of course, we bought the RV Have Gas Will Travel. And basically, that made us preppers again. Even though we're buying a newer one, a newer diesel, everything we need is in this vehicle that we live in. And on the newer one, I'll have solar panels. And I'm also going to buy one of those smaller windmills that they use on boats and stuff to keep the batteries charged. I'm going to put one of those on. I'm going to mount it on a ladder on the back so I can raise and lower it. If we're sitting in a windy area, I'll just raise it up and use it. So that gives us power. What else do we really need? This thing has a big enough gas tank in it that it'll travel 1,000 miles or more. I know a lot of people prep. They got food buried here and they got food buried there, but the big thing is getting to it. You may not be able to get it, what you've got buried somewhere. And to me, that's being like a squirrel. You bury all this food all over the place, then something happens and you can't get back to it. With us, we have it with us. This thing holds 100 gallons of water, and we found out that'll last us 2 or 3 weeks with no trouble. We also carry bottled water because she doesn't drink out of the RV tank unless it's coffee or something like that. It goes through a process. With an RV, if I carry a 12-volt water pump with me for pumping water out. I had it, so I put it in here. And if worse comes to worse, I can put a filter on it and fill my tank out of a creek or a pond or anything like that. One thing that a lot of people don't realize when you have an RV, it's like a second home to you. So you stock it with everything because you want to be comfortable. And because we're living in ours, we probably stock a little more. We keep a ton of food in here. A lot of it canned goods that won't go bad. Uh, the only thing I'd like to put in here that I don't have, and I planned on putting it in anyhow, we plan on doing some boondocking, is I'd like to get a single bitted axe and a hatchet and carry them with us, just so when we're boondocking we can cut some wood up and make a campfire. If something happened today, the grid went down or something and everybody's fighting over everything, we're ready to move. We can go somewhere else and set up a woodsy place or whatever, just somewhere out of sight of most people. You know, this thing it won't run through the woods, but I can get back in probably far enough so that we can be comfortable without having to worry about people looking for food and coming after us. Like I say, it'll go 1,000 miles on a tank of fuel. So that makes it just that much better. If we're in an area that only part of the grid goes down, we have enough so that we can get somewhere where maybe it's still up. We don't have to look for stuff because we've already got it with us. I carry 2 spare propane tanks, 30 pounders. I usually run off them when we're set up stationary for a while. So my main gas tank, the propane gas tank, is always full. So, like I say, if something happened, we just fire it up and move. And if we can get next to water, we're all set. And there's enough little streams and stuff around that we would be able to pull off on a logging road or something maybe and set up there. And as far as food goes, if it's wintertime, you'd probably want to be down where it's a little warmer, which we will be anyhow. But in the summer like that, you know, New York or one of the states with a lot of woods and stuff, there's a lot of places to get lost if you want to get lost. We don't particularly want to get lost. We just want to be able to survive, I guess. And so like I say, if you have a motorhome, you're probably already set up with most of the stuff you need. Like I say, I would like to get a hatchet and an axe just because we like outdoor fires too. But it's also, if you think about it, it's also a prepper thing, because if for some reason we run out of gas for the propane, we can always build a campfire. Another thing is we don't have to worry about shelter. We've got our shelter with us. And of course, on a new coach, being it's going to be an all season, we should be able to get by just about anywhere. But I see people, I've watched a few videos, I guess, that show people buying these Class A motorhomes and setting them up for prepping. And there's not a lot of setup to them. You already have a stove and a refrigerator. And our refrigerator runs on electric and gas, so if I have a little windmill or my solar panels and my batteries, the refrigerator will still run. We can still keep things cold. But I don't know, I was just thinking about prepping this morning and from a video that I watched, and I got thinking about it. We're already preppers without meaning to. And a lot of people with Class A's are too. I mean, if you've got one of the big luxury jobs that I don't consider that, I guess it's a prepper house in a way, but we don't have the kind of money to buy a $500,000 motorhome. We have to settle for the older ones, which they're fine. I mean, we're really happy with this thing. And if we had to, we could get rid of it, be out of here in a half hour, 45 minutes, and headed down the road someplace where it's safe and not have to worry. Like I say, everything's in here. We've got food, we've got water, we've got shelter. everything is there. So all we'd have to do is just find a spot somewhere out of the way and park and set up, and we'd be all set. So I don't know, it's a prepper thing, I guess. But without meaning to, we are preppers again. We were never doomsday preppers, but just plain old preppers. So I just thought somebody might like to know that. You know, if you've got an RV and it's fully stocked, which ours is all the time because we live in it, you're already a prepper without realizing it. And the only thing that I could suggest there is I keep this full of gas for the motor, and I keep the propane tank full, and we fill the water tank when it gets down about halfway. So you really don't need that much more. Like I said, you got a roof over your head, you've got water, you've got a ways to move. You're not sitting there gathering everything up, trying to throw it in there. If you're like us and live in the home, you've got everything that you started with. You don't have anything else. So, and our car tows behind it, so. And the car is, like I said, a Prius before, so that is really good on gas, and we keep that full. So that would give us something to go scrounging around with if we did it. You know, we wouldn't have to take the motorhome out and scrounge around to look for stuff. We'd have the Prius until the tank was at the end. I'm not carrying extra gasoline with me. I don't think we need it. And if something happened, we could always draw gas out of the motorhome and put it in the Prius to get us by. Because I think if something happens, it's not going to be a permanent type thing. It'll be temporary. If it lasted 3 or 4 months, people would be, they wouldn't know what to do. There'd be chaos all over the place, but it should straighten itself back out. Human nature is the minute something breaks, you try to rebuild it, and that's what's going to happen, I think. The ones that are prepared are not going to have a problem, and I think we're pretty well prepared. But like I say, the thing is, if we can't get to where we want to go, we can find some place to pull off, get out of the way a little bit, and we've got everything with us. If you have a stash that's 700 or 800 miles away, you may not be able to get to it. And that's another thing to think about. I know everybody said, well, I got this little car, I've got stuff buried here and there, but if you can't get to it, you're screwed. You're in the same boat as everybody else. So, I don't know, this is all kind of just off the top of my head. And I thought I'd make a short video. Maybe I'll go into it more elaborate later, but for right now, I think it'll do. So you might want to think about a small, older Class A home as a prepper vehicle. You got everything, you don't need anything else. As long as you've got it stocked good, you're all set. If something happens, and I'm not saying something bad, I mean, if the grid went down, that'd be super bad. But it's going to be something stupid like that causes problems, and I do believe eventually the grid will go down. Just because I've worked on all these power plants and everything, and a lot of them are old. They update them, but they can only update them so much. So, as Jimmy Rance would say, I guess, use your prepper sense. And a Class A is a good way to go. Well, that's about all I've got for right now. This is Handsome Jack from Have Gas Full Travel. And Ramblin' Rose and Princess, I better mention too, or she's going to swat me side the head for forgetting to mention them. I'll see you later. Bye.